What I really learned was the importance of not imposing our worldview on these communities and on their projects. We really needed to get to their level and try to understand from their perspective what their needs were. So it's important, for example, to find ways to enable them to have food that meets their cultural traditions, because food is part of culture.
The first thing was getting some exposure and learn about the culture of our First People, which was tremendously valuable. And just throughout my educational history, it has been lagging, if you will, if not missing.
What I actually really enjoyed a little bit was, though, like the collaborative kind of said, hey, we want everybody who nominates or applies to walk away with something. And it doesn't necessarily have to be monetary value, but something, some learning, some insight, let's give them a gift of some sort. And I thought that was pretty neat, because we get so caught up into the harsh reality of business, and you get to remove yourself a little bit from that.
Well, I learned a lot about Northern Manitoba that I didn't know before, and they're very passionate about like their traditions and living off the land and doing land-based teachings and stuff like that. And I didn't really know much about that in Northern Manitoba, and being Métis, you know, it's a learning process for me. So it was interesting to learn everything that they do out there.
Connecting to it just makes it more real, versus like kind of you go, well, hey, I know Maple Leaf donates X millions of dollars on a regular basis, but until you see how it might actually be impacting a community and helping, you don't necessarily relate to it the same way. So I think it's just that, like, I would just say, hey, there's opportunities to connect more deeply, and we should leverage them.
The way they come together and the way they have multiple people. There was one that had just one person, and one of the big questions that was asked was, are you going to have support? You know, you're the only person on here. Are you going to have support? And she wasn't worried at all. She knew her community would be there. She just didn't list them in the application. So that was definitely interesting to learn and to see how they work together and what the money can do.
This is an area that we can continue working on to ensure that the communities in need are sustainable on their own and become independent in addressing food insecurity concerns.
I would encourage Maple Leafers to get engaged in the center and in the Manitoba Collaborative, because there's so much you don't know. There is so much learning to do as a result of this experience, and it really enriched my understanding. But I'm only at the beginning of my journey, so I look forward to even more.